You're standing with us now. Lord, unveil our eyes. You're the reason we're here. Yes, you are. You're the reason we're singing. Open up the heavens. We want to see you. Open up the floodgates. A mighty river flowing from your heart, filling every part of our Open up the heavens. We want to see you. Open up the floodgates. A mighty river flowing from your heart, filling every part of our Show us your glory. Show us your power. Show us your glory, Lord. We'll never be the same when you show us your glory. Show us your power. Show us your glory, Lord. We wanna see you. Open up the heavens. We wanna see you. Open up the floodgates. A mighty river flowing from your heart, filling every part of our We wanna see you. Open up the heavens. We wanna see you. Open up the floodgates. A mighty river flowing from your heart, filling every part of our
Hey everyone, and welcome to Church Online. My name is Tiffany, and we are so glad that you decided to tune in. If this is your very first time, we want to give you a special welcome. In fact, if you text the number below, we would love to send you a free Crosspoint t-shirt just as a thank you for being here. You know, we've got several things that we are super excited about that's just around the corner. I don't know about you, but I have found myself over the last several months missing just being with people. There's no doubt about it that there are people in our country, in our city, in our community who feel lonely and who feel isolated and disconnected. And you know, this isn't new to this pandemic. In 2018, the Prime Minister of the UK, Theresa May, actually appointed a loneliness minister to her cabinet because she knew that 20% of her country claimed to be chronically lonely. She recognized that this was such a huge deal in her country that she had to do something about it. And if we look at the statistics of our own country, 35% of Americans claim to be chronically lonely. And COVID-19 has just made this worse. So what's the solution? What can we do to help in this? We believe that the church can be the solution. We believe that groups can actually help take people from feeling lonely to feeling connected, from feeling hopeless to feeling full of hope, to feeling disconnected from God to connecting to God. And so I want to encourage you this fall to sign up for a growth group. We believe that it could absolutely change the course of your life. We're kicking off on September 14th, and you can sign up today. We've got groups for all ages and stages of life, and they're meeting online or outside. Don't miss your chance to go from lonely to connected this fall. So text Growth Group to 94,000 today and join a group.
So many kids in our area are starting school this week or next week. Many of the kids don't have money to buy simple things as a pencil or paper. So what's cool is we provide that for them so they have no worries at all to start the year off right. We want to come alongside these families to provide support and love during this time. I remember when I was a kid, I would wake up on the first day of school and I didn't have paper, I didn't have pencils, and my mom wasn't able to provide that for us. So just knowing that these kids are going to start this year off right, on the right foot, ready for the school year, is something that we believe in here at Crosspoint. I remember as a kid receiving a packet like this, and it brought so much joy and made me feel so loved, knowing that a church was not only praying for me, they cared for me enough to provide this for me for the school year. Crosspoint, thanks so much for giving. Because of your generosity, we're able to do things like this on Love on Families in our whole community.
Church, we are super excited because beginning September 13th, we are offering an in-person gathering at 9:30 a.m. in addition to our online services. And then on September 20th, we are having Friend Day. It's gonna be unbelievable. Friend Day online or in person, and we want your help. We need you to help us spread the word so that more people can come to Crosspoint online or in person, and we need your help to volunteer. It's as simple as texting Friend Day to 94,000 to get all of the info you need and to sign up to volunteer. We can't wait to see what God does in and through you this Friend Day.
I want to say thank you to those of you that financially support the vision of your church and helping people find and follow Jesus. This is a time when I usually challenge you to be faithful to God in your tithes and offerings. But before I do that, I want to let you know where the money goes. You know, when you give $1 to Crosspoint Church, here's what happens. 46 cents of each dollar goes to pay the staff at Crosspoint Church. Now, they're a very highly talented team, and I know them well. They could all go make more money somewhere else doing something different. But they have said yes to the call of God on their life to serve God and to serve His church and to serve each and every one of you. Now, 32 cents of every dollar, it goes to covering the cost of our facilities. Now, God has blessed us with an amazing place to worship God in. And I get it. Right now, we don't get a chance to be able to utilize the facility like we would like to, but it won't always be that way. The building and the environments we're going to use for worship, and we have incredible spaces for our students, our kids ministry, and all of our other signature ministries. And God has given us this facility as a vehicle to help people with evangelism and discipleship. Now, 16 cents of every dollar, it goes to ministry. That's what helps us with our kids' curriculum for our teenagers as well as for our elementary students. And we've got students that are going God's way instead of the world's way. Technology like this that allows us to be able to watch service online is another part of ministries. And we also help so many people in our community as well as those around the world. Now, 6 cents of every dollar, it covers the administrative costs of the church. And if you research nonprofit organizations, you're going to find that this is a really low number. We work hard to keep the administrative cost down so that we can do more ministry. And we have so many volunteers that serve here at Crosspoint that help us be able to do just that. So that's it. That's where the money goes. And I want to say thank you for your giving and your generosity because it's making a difference. So I want to challenge you today to be generous in your faithfulness, in your tithes and your offerings. And I want to challenge you to go online today and give to the Lord. But better yet, I challenge you to automate the important. When you sign up for recurring giving, it allows your church to step forward in faith. It allows us to be bold in the vision, and your financial support is helping other people find and follow Jesus.
love's not fractured, it's not a troubled mind, it isn't anxious, it's not the restless kind. Your love's not passive, it's never disengaged, it's always present, and it hangs on every word we say. Love keeps its promises, it keeps its word, it honors what's sacred, and its vows are good. Your love's not broken, it's not insecure, your love's not selfish, your love is pure. You don't give your heart in pieces, no, and you don't hide yourself to tease us. No, you don't keep your heart in pieces. No, and you don't hide yourself to tease us. You don't give your heart in pieces. You don't give your heart in pieces.
Welcome to Church Online today. We are so excited to have you participating, watching with us today. We have a great service planned today, don't we, Matt?
Man, I'm very excited about it at this moment.
It's going to be awesome. Hey, we want you today to be a hope dealer. You don't deal dope, you deal hope. And here's how you can be a hope dealer today, by sharing this. And so if you're watching online right now, man, get the word out and let's share the hope of Jesus Christ. And we're in this series, brand new series, kind of brand new, called Thriving in Babylon. And this year we've taken the book of Daniel and we've decided that what we're going to do is do a deep dive into the entire book, but we break it up into these Netflix seasons. So we're in season 3 today. What chapter are we in?
Chapter 3.
Chapter 3, perfect. So we're going to go through Daniel chapter 3 today. And just to give you a little context of what's happening, is this is a story, a history story of God's people, the Jewish people that were exiled to Babylon in 600 BC. And some of you love history, and you're going to love this story. Some of you fell asleep during history class. So you say, how is this even relevant today? Well, this is incredibly relevant, and here's why. Because this is a story about people that were ripped out of the security of their own homes. This is a story about people that went through trouble, tension, and transition, and they found themselves, instead of being, in God's place, that they were now in Babylon. And Babylon was very much an anti-God culture. And it reminds me of what we're going through as well, because I believe that the United States of America, used to be a place that, just like our money says, in God we trust. I don't know how much that we trust God much any longer. And we find ourselves like these these Jewish people in Babylon, where we're in a place that is anti-God. And I think America has now, instead of having its foundation of God, has definitely turned. And so we want to study the life of Daniel, the book of Daniel, because here's what we notice in this book, is that God's people, they were able to thrive in Babylon. They were able to thrive in a place that was not God-centric. And they did it in such a way to where they were still set apart. We hear this word holy. Holy, the Holy Bible, to be holy. That simply means to be set apart, to be different, to not lose your characteristics, to do it God's way instead of the world's way. They were able to thrive in Babylon by keeping their biblical values, but at the same time, they also weren't, hurting people. You can't win your enemies to Christ. They weren't causing enemies all around them, and they were able to thrive in Babylon, which I think is going to be pertinent information for us in the culture that we find ourselves in today.
Yeah, and Brian, I'm pretty excited to do this talk together today, and in part because one of the major themes that pops up throughout the entire book of Daniel is our tendency as people to self-sabotage. So I guess really to illustrate what it looks like to do self-sabotage, I actually want to play a game with you, despite maybe my better judgment.
I love games. I love games.
Like I said, despite maybe my better judgment, mostly because you're my boss, we're going to play a game about self-sabotage called What Are My Worst Habits? So...
what a horrible game.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun for half of us. So I'll be the question asker, you be the answer. So Brian, just kind of out of curiosity, do you have any tendencies, things that you do at home that just drive people at your home crazy? Now, just to be fair, you don't have to maybe give your absolute worst tendencies.
Oh, thanks.
I mean, we can keep at least a modicum of mystery about you. But what are some things that you do that just drive people in your home crazy?
What do I do that drives my family crazy? Let's go with Shannon. What drives Shannon crazy? Okay, so I was diagnosed last year with sleep apnea. Okay, which basically means I snore like a freight train.
Yes, you do.
Now, you know this, because we travel together.
We've shared hotel rooms on occasion, and yes.
So I was diagnosed with sleep apnea. I snore so bad I wake myself up whenever I snore. But I got the sleep apnea machine now, which keeps me from snoring. Now, what's interesting is Shannon has never complained about my snoring. She's a deep sleeper, or she has a lot of grace. She's a little bit of both. But now that I have this sleep apnea machine, it doesn't always fit around my head. I kind of turn, and I don't know if you've ever heard this. I mean, the amount of pressure going up my nose, it sounds like a plane taking off. And so when it gets out, sometimes it just is like, shh. And that is driving Shannon more crazy, I think, than my sleep apnea. So that is really annoying to her.
Man, that's really good.
How about you, Matt? Let's continue the game on.
All right, I guess we can.
So Matt, what do you have that is completely annoying and obnoxious that just drives your wife crazy?
I guess it's probably just that I just care too much for her, I guess. No, I'm just kidding. No, one thing that, kind of speaking of just things that happen while we're sleeping, Jen tells me this, that I chew in my sleep. I'll just be... Which is, I don't know anybody else that does this, but, I guess I chew my sleep and it drives her crazy. It keeps her up at night. It's awful. But, okay, here's the reason why I'm even asking you the question is, I don't know if you've noticed this. Other people will drive you crazy, right? But how often do you find, you drive yourself crazy? That more often we give ourselves a ton of grace in most situations. But the reality is, we get in our way a lot. In fact, we often make life really difficult for ourselves, and we don't really realize it, and that's self-sabotage, right?
Right. Now, the common denominator between most of our problems that we have in life is us.
Yeah.
If I had to kick the person that was responsible for most of my problems in life, I wouldn't be able to sit down for a week. So, we understand that we are usually the problem. However, we don't see it ourselves. And today's message is going to be uncomfortable. So I'm just going to warn you right off the bat as we get into Daniel chapter 3, there's going to be some uncomfortableness about this. And here's what I know about most of you when you're watching a service or you're listening to a message and you're with somebody else, you're like, oh, I really hope that she's hearing this right now. I just wish he was here right now and he could hear this message because he really needs this. She really needs this. And you're going to be tempted to do that maybe with this message or other messages, but rarely do we look at ourselves and say, this is for me. And the reason why is because we always blame other people for our problems. Mm-hmm. We'll blame the pandemic. We'll blame our kids, we'll blame somebody else's attitude, but we rarely look at ourselves. And with each problem that we have, we usually, what we're doing is we're dealing with symptoms rather than the problem. So think about it like this. If you're driving and you find that your tires are getting worn out a lot, and you have to replace them more often than you should, the issue may not be the tires. The issue may be the alignment. And if you'll fix the alignment, it'll take care of the tires. Or here's another one. Another one, Matt, is dementia, pneumonia, some diabetes, even some pregnancy complications. They all have a common denominator. You know what the common denominator is? Bad dental hygiene. And so part of that is if you'll fix the dental, who knows, that can maybe fix diabetes, because you're not dealing with the actual problem, you're just dealing with some of the symptoms of the problem. And many people go through life blaming everything, but the problem may be you.
Yeah, maybe a better way to kind of illustrate what we constantly do to ourselves is in the form of a story. This is a metaphor, okay? So when I was in college, I was going to go home for break, and I had told everybody in my family I'm coming home on Wednesday. But then when I looked at my schedule, I realized there's no reason why I can't leave Tuesday afternoon and be home even in time for dinner. So I called my mom and I said, Mom, I looked at my schedule, I can be home by Tuesday, and I was thinking maybe we can surprise everyone. Can you help me? And she's like, yeah, I love this idea. Let me help you surprise everyone. And so I hung up the phone, and I don't know what possessed me, but I'm like, I'm gonna make another phone call. So I call my dad, and I say, hey, Dad, I looked at my schedule. I don't have to wait until Wednesday to come home. I can come home on Tuesday. I was thinking it might be kind of cool if we surprise everyone. Can you help me? And then I called my sister and said the same thing, and then I called my other sister and said the same thing, then I called my brother-in-law. I literally had every person in my family lined up to try and help me surprise everyone else. And so that entire day I'm driving home, I'm making phone calls, I'm sending text messages, I'm trying to work out, I'm asking some people, hey, let's see if we can go out to eat, because it'll be a lot easier to surprise people at a restaurant. I'm asking the other half, we gotta stay home, because it'll be a lot easier if I can just sneak in through the back door. And I have them all working against each other. Come to find out, my dad makes the big announcement. He's like, I got a big surprise tonight. They all think that I'm their surprise, and so my dad's got something entirely different. And so when I walk up to the Chili's that night, and I come walking in, everybody braces themselves and starts looking around to see what everyone else's reaction is. And that's when they realize that I played all of them. And the thing is, I think that so many of us, that we have something very similar happening in our own mind. We are doing self-sabotage, where in 1 second we're telling ourselves things like, hey, you need to get into shape, so start eating better. You need to start exercising. But then that same voice will turn around and say, get to the grocery store, get some more ice cream, buy some cookies, sleep in tonight. There's all these different ways that we try and work against each other, and we don't even realize it. And the thing is, we don't realize so often that self-sabotage is so common in our lives, and the common denominator, the culprit behind all of it, is you.
So here's the headline of the message today. The headline of the message is, your problems are many times pride in disguise. It's pride in disguise. Another word for pride is ego, E-G-O. This is whenever you edge God out. Matt, we used to travel a lot. I used to travel a lot, and I would go to the airport. And if you've ever been down to LAX, pre-COVID, you would see 17, 18 planes just hovering, getting ready to land. The LAX is just crazy, getting in and getting out of. And it dawned on me that there's a lot of people that are taking these trips, lots of trips. And some of you have been on this trip. It's not a very popular trip, but it's called an ego trip. And the word is pride, P-R-I-D-E. And what you do is you ride pride. See, pride is the word ride with the P in front of it. You ride pride, and you take a trip to the universe called me. It's a pride ride. And many of our problems, and you're going to see this in Daniel chapter 3 today, all revolve around pride. Now, pride disguises itself to its own self. So it's hard to see pride. So you may think that you have an anger issue, but maybe your issue isn't anger, The root, not just talking about a symptom, the root is pride. See, this is the definition of anger. Anger is a play for control. You're just wanting to control. And you know what control is? It's rooted back in pride. Some of you don't have a pornography issue. You think your issue is lust with pornography. Your issue may be rooted in pride, and that's manifesting itself out through pornography. Some of you are going through some marriage challenges right now, and you think that the marriage challenge is that you're incompatible. But the reality is that you're incompatible. Your spouse is incompatible with your pride. So pride, it's the root, and many of your problems are just pride in disguise.
Yeah, it's so easy to spot pride in other people, right? But it's almost impossible to spot it in ourselves. So we look at it as ourselves like, man, pride is the silent killer, but to everyone else, it's the loud and obnoxious killer. And our story today from Daniel chapter 3 is all about pride manifest. So in fact, we're going to be talking about the king Nebuchadnezzar. And before we get into exactly what happens, let me tell you, Nebuchadnezzar was a big deal. You know, Nebuchadnezzar was Caesar before Caesar. He was Alexander the Great before Alexander the Great. He built an incredible empire. He built an empire that was really one of the world's first preeminent superpowers. And in fact, Babylon was multi-ethnic. Their economy was incredible. They had so many things going for them. Even to this day, historians will look back and say the Babylonians were an incredible empire for their day and age. In fact, even the Hanging Gardens that Nebuchadnezzar had commissioned are still considered one of the ancient wonders of the world. And so when we talk about what Nebuchadnezzar does with this incredible list of accomplishments, I want to be very clear, like this is not just some other dude that's hidden somewhere on the other side of the world who tried to make a big deal out of himself when he really wasn't that great. Nebuchadnezzar had the resume, but the way he uses it is not great. And so this is what Daniel chapter 3 verse 1 says. It says, King Nebuchadnezzar, he made a gold statue 90 feet tall and 9 feet wide, and he set it up on the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon. Now, to be fair, we're not 100% sure exactly what the statue is an image of, but historically it's been understood that more than likely this was a giant statue of Nebuchadnezzar himself, that he commissioned all these artists to go and make a giant 90-foot tall statue of him. And this was what he does. He says, all right, this is such an incredible work of art. I'm calling all the magistrates, all the governors, the officials, the advisors, the treasurers, the judges. Basically, if you're on the payroll, you need to be here. I'm also getting an orchestra. And just so we're all clear on the rules, as soon as the music starts playing, you all better hit your knees and you better start worshiping. Like, if you don't do it, I've also brought right here a giant furnace. We're going to turn this thing on. We use this to smelt metals. But today, if you choose not to worship me, you're going right into the furnace. And so that's what he does. He brings everyone that's on the payroll into the plain and says, once you hear that music, start worshiping.
All right, now this sounds pretty ridiculous. I mean, a 90-foot statue. I mean, he's definitely overcompensated here. It's like, 90 feet. It's like, are you kidding me? And then there's this Olympic opening ceremony level pageantry that goes along with it. And some of you are saying today, hey, that's like a issue with King Nebi, okay? That's not an issue with me, and I don't have any statues that I'm asking anybody to bow down to. We see all this, but I think the reality is most of us have a level of King Nebuchadnezzar inside of all of us. And we all have this desire, like King Nebi here, to be praised, to be affirmed and celebrated. We all have this desire inside of us that we want to be significant. And pride, it thrives in our culture today. It thrives in a world that is filled with competition and comparison. And we have so much comparison with social media today. There's so much competition between me and someone else. And pride says, I want more than you have. Pride is a supersized amount of self-esteem. Pride says, I don't want just more. I don't want to just be successful. I want to be more successful than you. Pride says, I don't want to just be loved. I want to be loved more than my siblings. Pride, it says, hey, there's winners and there's losers.
Yeah, and in fact, when you lean into your pride, what you find is that you don't love people, you use people. When you lean into your pride, you never really find contentment. You just find the thrill of victory when you suddenly have more than everyone else around you. When you lean into your pride, you have a constant list of enemies, the people that are trying to chip away at your greatness. And I just want to tell you, that is no way to win. In fact, here's what author C.S. Lewis says about how you can tell if you are a prideful person. He says this, ask yourself this question: how much do I dislike it when other people snub me, or refuse to take any notice of me, or shove their oar in, or patronize me, or show off? He says, these are markers of a bigger problem. And so if you really look at what Nebuchadnezzar did on the plain of Dura that day as he puts up this 90-foot tall statue, the first thing he does is this. He wants to make sure that he takes up the most space. I mean, think about this. He builds a 90-foot tall statue to himself. It could be seen for miles all around. It wasn't just enough to be great and be recognized by other people as great. He has to announce to the world, look how incredible I am. You know, maybe for you, you can ask yourself the question, how long does it take before you inevitably have to turn the conversation to you? I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but there's a classic book, actually written close to 80 years ago, called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And really the whole point of the book is if you want to make other people like you, don't talk about yourself, talk about them. And the reason why is because the average person believes that they're the most important person. And if other people would recognize that, then that would be great. And so if you want to win friends and influence people, you just turn the conversation to them, make them a big deal, and suddenly you've won them over as a friend. And the reason why, because that's exactly how we're wired. We're wired to want to make ourselves a big deal.
Yeah, I've heard this whole thing that everybody tunes in to this station called WIFM. What's in it for me? And that just kind of shows you just the nature, the character of our selfishness that we have is everything is about me. I think that if you're going to thrive in Babylon, you've got to move from a me mentality to a we mentality. Here's the second thing that he did is he called all of his fans together for the ceremony. Now, let me tell you what was really going on here is this was a you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back kind of a deal. Because all of these people, they came in, but they wanted to be significant in King Nebuchadnezzar's eyes. So they were both using each other here. This was a horse trade because they were coming in thinking, hey, if we do what the king says, then it's going to up our opportunities with the government. It's going to give us more opportunities with the king. But the moment that he stopped feeding their ego or their significance, then they would bounce out. And oftentimes we do the same thing. And here's the test. The test is, are you just about relationships for what you can get out of it, on what someone can give you? Are your relationships built more on a monologue or a dialogue? Is it really about us collectively together? Do you stay in relationships based upon what people give you and what you can get back? See, because that's a very selfish way to live. And here's the third thing that King Nebuchadnezzar did, is he manipulated the emotions of the crowd to woo them. And here's how he did it. It says that he played music. Have you ever noticed the power of music and how music can play on your emotions? If you're ever watching a movie and all of a sudden you're watching a scary movie and because of the soundtrack, because of the music that's playing in the background, it can make something really scary. Or the music can make you fall in love. I mean, it can manipulate your emotions and your feelings. Right now, we're watching the NBA playoffs. and they're in the bubble. So in the bubble, there's not very many people that are there. But here's what I've noticed. They have piped in a lot of sound. They piped in a lot of music and a lot of crowd noise. And why are they doing that? To make the environment better, to manipulate the experience so that the experience is better. Now, here's what I know about you. I know that whenever you're not in conversations and all of a sudden like kicking on like Spotify music to like manipulate people through music. You may not do it that way in a conversation. However, we're really good at manipulating the facts and spinning the facts to make us look good, to leave out little parts. And why do we do this? Because our arrogancy and our pride inside of us and our ego wants other people to be won over to our opinions, won over to our viewpoints. And man, that is a mark of pride when we begin to manipulate other people in order to woo them.
You know, and the last thing he does is he plates the statue in gold. I mean, there would be no defects in design. Like the skin tones would be even. There'd be no wrinkles, no blemishes, no unsightly, age marks anywhere on the statue. And it was really because he wanted to make sure that it was the most valuable thing, and he was seen as such an incredible thing of beauty. You know, and it's kind of like your Instagrams. Right? Like if you want to see what somebody wants you to think of them, look at the photos that they post of themselves. If you want to see who they really are, maybe you look at the photos that they're tagged in. It's kind of like, sometimes when Jen and I are looking for places to stay, I'll be on some place like TripAdvisor or Yelp looking at different hotels or resorts, and I'll be like, Jen, you got to come look at this. This is incredible. And the question she'll ask me makes all the difference in the world to say, who posted it? And if I look in the little corner of who posted the photo, if it's the company that posted the photo, if it's the actual resort that posted the pictures of the rooms and of the pool, then I know that they're manipulating it in some way. They're making sure that the room looks the absolute best. They're making sure that the pool is as clean as it can possibly be. And so when you go to the photos that were uploaded by people who have actually stayed in the hotel, you actually get a better picture of who it is. But the reality of life is that so many of us are like Nebuchadnezzar, is that we're not letting other people's photos define who we are. We're saying, no, I'm gonna script the whole thing. I'm gonna make sure it's looking its absolute best. And here's something actually very interesting. There's no way that, as rich as the Babylonians were, that they could have built a statue that was solid gold, 90 feet tall and 9 feet wide. That more than likely that this is probably a wood structure or using some lesser metal on the inside, but then plated with gold. Which means that it would actually look more valuable than it really is. The surface communicates what we wish, but not necessarily reality. And the thing that I just have to think about is that really the biggest difference between me and Nebuchadnezzar, or you and Nebuchadnezzar, is not that he's prideful and you're not. It's that our monuments that we built to ourselves just don't happen to be 90-foot tall gold statues on the plain of Dura. They're found in what we put on social media. They're found in the stories that we tell about ourselves. They're in the public image that we want to make sure everybody believes about us.
So how do you identify pride? I think pride can look so many different things. Sometimes we think it's just big mouth, outlandish types that struggle with pride, but you can be, quiet and conservative and still struggle with pride. You can have inner pride inside of yourself. I identify it by things like vanity, insecurity. I think when you don't care about other people's opinions on things, when it's just about what you think without thinking about anyone else as well. There's so many different ways that pride can flesh itself out, but I think we have to be careful. And so what's the antidote? How do we keep ourselves from being like King Nebi here? And how do we keep from this whole pride? Remember I told you pride is the word ride with a P in front of it, and we ride pride to the universe called me. See, what we need to do is we need to land the plane. You need to put your seat table up, your tray up in a lock position. You need to fasten your seatbelt, and you need to land that thing back down. And here's what you do. Once you get landed, then what you got to do is you got to do something really outlandish. You've got to strip. Now, I'm not talking about stripping your clothes. I'm talking about stripping yourself of all of your pride. And you need to put on some 1 Peter 5:5 wear. 1 Peter 5:5, it's a true biblical fashion statement. Here's what it says: clothe yourselves in humility. That's the antidote to pride. It's to clothe yourself in humility. God resists the proud, but he gives grace to the humble. Now, Jesus modeled this for us as well. I love this passage of scripture in Philippians chapter 2. Here's what it says: don't be selfish. Don't try to impress others. Be humble. Be humble or you'll stumble. Be humble, thinking of others better than yourself. Don't look out only for your own interest, but take an interest in others too. You must have the same attitude that Christ Jesus had. Though he was God, he did not think of equality with God as something to cling to. Instead, he gave up his divine privileges. Think about this. Jesus was in heaven at the right hand of God. He gave up his divine privileges. He took a humble position of a slave, was born as a human being. And when he appeared in human form, he humbled himself in obedience to God, and he died a criminal's death on the cross. Listen, if I was Jesus and I was coming to this earth, I'd be like, hey, look at me. Listen to me. But he didn't. What Jesus did, even before the cross, is he went to the upper room and he took a basin filled with water and a towel. And the same fingers that created the mountains that we get to explore, that creates the beaches and the beautiful sunsets, the same fingers that created those things were now massaging filthy toes and feet of the disciples. That is an act of humility, of service to other people. And Philippians says, just as Jesus set this example, that's the kind of example that we need to set as well. We need to land the plane. We don't want to be like King Nebuchadnezzar. And here's a question that I want to give you in closing. And this is a dangerous question. And those of you that really have a lot of pride, there's no way you'll ask this question because you're afraid what the answer may be. But I want to challenge you, maybe to those you work with, to somebody you're dating right now, maybe a spouse. You might pose this question to mom, your dad, your children, people that know you. Here's the question to ask: what's it like to live on the other side of me? What's it like to be on the other side of me? And then just listen. Just listen. And why would you ask this question? Because the last thing that you want to do is to be loaded and filled with pride and keep people far away from you and give them the Heisman stiff arm, all because of our pride. Listen, I believe God has called us to humility, and the number one thing that you can do, if you really want to take this thing to the next level, it's to surrender your life to God. That's what humility is. It's when you wave the white flag of surrender, when you say, I'm no longer in charge of my life. I'm no longer going to take the steering wheel. I'm going to set shotgun, and I'm going to allow God to steer my life. And if you would like to do that today, I want to encourage you to pray this prayer with me. Just say, Dear God, God's with you right now. Wherever you're at, listen to this, watching this. Say, Dear God, I'm asking you to forgive me of my sins and take full control of my life. God, I'm landing my plane. I'm no longer living this life for me, but God, I'm willing to live this life for you. So forgive me of my sins. Come into my heart. God, here I am. I'm all yours. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Hey, God bless you. If you prayed that prayer today, we want to celebrate with you, and we want to help you not just find Jesus. Today's an awesome day, but this is the starting point, not the ending point for you. This is the beginning. We want to help you follow Jesus as well. So we have some resources that we want to mail out to you. We'll send it to you for free. Just text us the message below, and man, we would be honored to be able to help you in your spiritual journey. Hey, Matt, talk to them a little bit about where we're going next week.
Yeah, so we're going to continue in our story of Daniel chapter 3. And like we talked about, Nebuchadnezzar's rule was if you don't bow and worship, you're going into the furnace. Well, there's actually 3 guys who don't bow down, and they're not apologetic about it. But the thing is, they also weren't like in your face and like abusive about it either. So if you've ever wanted to know how you can hold on to your convictions in a world that is putting you under intense scrutiny, you're not going to want to miss next week.
God bless you guys. Thanks for joining today.
Thanks so much for tuning in today. We hope you are encouraged and strengthened. And if you made the decision to put your faith and trust in Jesus, we celebrate with you. In fact, we would love to come alongside of you in this journey. So text the number below and we'll reach out to you this week. Hope you have a great week and we'll see you next time.
You made the earth, you keep it spinning. You made the ocean and everything in it, and you made the sky so blue, and you made every other color too. You made the sun, you keep it shining. You put the moon up in the midnight sky, and everything around me created by you only. I just wanna thank you 'cause everything you made is so beautiful. Every single star and every beat of my heart, and it's beautiful. You made my feet, you made my hands. You made me sing and you make me dance, 'cause your love is all around me, and your love is so astounding. I just wanna thank you 'cause everything you made is so beautiful. Every single star and every beat of my heart, and it's beautiful. Here we go, break it down now. Everything you created with your imagination is wonderful and good, wonderful and good. You're my inspiration beyond all explanation. You're wonderful and good, you're wonderful and good. Everything you created with your imagination is wonderful and good, wonderful and good. You're my inspiration beyond all explanation. You're wonderful and good, you're wonderful and good. I just wanna thank you 'cause everything you made is so beautiful. Every single star and every beat of my heart, and it's beautiful. I just wanna thank you 'cause everything you made is so beautiful. Every single star and every beat of my heart, and it's beautiful.
Hello humans, it's your boy Jacob, and it's time to show off some creativity. Creativity is imagining what you could do because you were made in God's image. That's right, God made you out of about 30 trillion building blocks that we call cells. And I'm about to use this many building blocks to create the International Space Station. The one I'm making is much smaller. When building a complicated structure like this, it helps to have creative building technique. Some people count out all the blocks and follow the instructions to the letter. I call these people the building block robots. Insert piece 325B into piece 356-D. Some people can just look at a picture of the International Space Station and know exactly where every little piece goes. These people are called the visionaries. Yes, I'm seeing it. It's picturesque. That piece goes there, and we bring that piece in, and it comes together. I'm the kind of person who falls into the third category. I use the just wing it technique. I'm a just wing it-er person. I mean, come on, these are toys. They're supposed to be fun. How much fun is that? Now let's get creative. But most of all, let's have some fun. So I don't know. Just give me like 15 minutes. I'll get this all worked out. Why? There's just too many blocks. There's too many blocks. I've been looking. There's this one little gray piece that I need to make it perfect, and I can't find it anywhere. This is supposed to be fun. I'm supposed to be having fun, and this isn't fun at all. Whee, whee, whee. There it is. Oh no, hold on. Nobody move. I just lost it. There's a little gray piece. Clearly, I could use a hand here. Probably a few hands. The story today is about a guy who needed a hand and his friends who used their hands and their head to get him some help. They worked together. Say, that's not a bad idea. I've got to make some phone calls. See you in a bit.
That's, I don't know, the Taj Mahal. Basketball. No? Okay. Corn cake. Mad cow disease. Is it a rubber band? And I don't know. Pablo Picasso. Is that? I'm trying. An old Irish cottage. A haunted house. Baby fish mouth. Baby. A hissy fit. Fine. I don't know.
Ooh.
We're out of time.
You were so close.
Really?
Yes.
What was the word?
Indescribable? Oh no, it was waffle iron. I was way off. But good guesses. All right. Next word?
Because that's just not the way we do things around here.
But it would be so fun. Why not?
We can't bring 20 baby goats
They
into
would
your
be so
basement.
cute.
That's not a reason to bring baby goats in your basement.
Why can't you be more fun?
Why can't you be more serious?
Fun.
Serious.
Fun.
Serious.
Oh, hey.
Hey, my name is Brandon.
And I'm John.
This is the So-and-So Show, where we like to have fun while talking about things that are often quite serious.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, John. I really shouldn't ask you to change. You are you. I am me.
I know you're right, Brandon. It's our differences that have made this friendship work as long as it has.
Yeah. Hey, do you remember when we first met?
Are you kidding me? Of course I do. It's almost like it was yesterday. Hey.
Hey.
I like that shirt.
Thanks. John, that was yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
When we first met.
Right, yeah.
Right. I remember it like it was 25 years ago. Sup?
Sup?
Hey, that outfit's all that in a bag of chips.
Thanks, Home Skillet. Your memory is very bad. That's not how we met at all. Plus, we were way younger 25 years ago.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I remember it like it was.
No.
What?
Stop. Let me do it.
Okay.
Hey.
Hey. coming back to me.
Yeah, just a couple of creative kids, our whole future ahead of us. Hey, what would you want your younger self to know if you could talk to him today?
Don't be afraid of mayonnaise. It's delicious.
That's not true, first of all. Mayonnaise is gross.
It is.
And second, wouldn't it be neat if we could go back in time and talk to our younger selves?
I've got a better idea.
This always goes well.
Please welcome someone who knows stuff.
Whoa. What's going on?
I don't know.
Clearly, we've traveled 25 years into the future from the moment we met until now. These old people, they're future versions of ourselves. It's really obvious.
Come have a seat, young me.
Yeah. Oh, here you go.
All right.
You're taking this well.
Just your standard time travel episode. Didn't you ever watch Quantum Leap?
Yeah.
Oh, of course you have. You're me.
Yeah. Okay, now we obviously know who you are, but what do you know?
Oh, I'm really good at math and writing. And I'm also really good at making sounds with my mouth.
I totally forgot we could do that.
Okay, what about you, me? What do you know?
I know that I can't stay here very long. My father wants me home before lunchtime.
What? Are you serious? You just traveled through time. Take a minute, man. Make some mouth noises.
Is this really who I'm going to be spending all my time with in the future?
It's not that bad.
Whatever, dude. You're way too dull for me. There's no way we're gonna be friends.
Oh. This is our future. Do you still not get it, genius?
Oh, see? He called you a genius.
I was being sarcastic. Simpleton.
Okay.
Now, wait a minute. I think that sounded like an insult, Mr. Boring McBoring Pants.
Don't attack him. That's me.
What are you, his dad?
Yeah, what are you, my dad?
You guys are so mature. Can I go home now?
Yeah, go, and I hope I never see you again.
Yeah.
You will see me again. This is our future.
What are you talking about?
Can we please just stop? None of this is actually
Oh,
possible.
there he goes again, taking away all our fun.
This is serious.
Fun!
Serious.
Fun!
Serious.
Fun!
Serious!
It's Bible story time with Kellen.
What is up, guys? Whoa! Am I seeing double?
Hey, Kellen.
Hey, Kellen.
Sup, Kellen?
Sir?
What exactly is going on here?
Time travel episode.
Ah, gotcha.
What story are we doing today?
It's a story about some friends who had to get creative to help another friend. Want to help me out?
Sure.
Sure.
Awesome. Our story today begins with a group of friends. We don't know their names, so let's just call them Egon, Winston, Peter, and Ray. The friends wanted to help Ray because he couldn't walk. They had heard stories of how Jesus had miraculously healed a lot of people. So when they heard Jesus was in town, they decided to carry Ray to the house where Jesus was staying.
I don't know. It doesn't look good.
The line to see Jesus is all the way around the block. We won't get to see him until next Tuesday.
We've got to come up with a way to get Ray in to see Jesus. Think.
So they thought,
I've got it. We'll throw him.
What? No!
All right, I'll supervise.
All right.
Okay.
On 3.
1, 2, 3.
There he goes. Go.
There you go. You got this. Keep on. Yep. Right in my ear. Yep. You got this. I got your blanket. Bring it over.
Oh, that's not good. Here he comes. He's coming back.
Careful there. You'll make it. You got this. Keep on going. Yep. Here you go. Get that over you. Whew. Huh. That didn't work.
Of course it didn't work.
Okay, that looked really fun. But they didn't really throw their friend against the wall. What they did do was very creative. They made a hole in the roof of the house where Jesus was. And they lowered Ray's mat down to see Jesus.
Whoa! 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 Oh! Hi, Jesus.
Hi, Jesus. Son, your sins are forgiven.
What? He can't say that. Only God can forgive sins. You with me, guys? Guys? Ugh. You with me?
Yeah.
Why are you thinking these things? Is it easier to say, your sins are forgiven? Or to say, get up, take up your mat, and walk? But I want you to know that the Son of Man has authority on earth to forgive sins. I tell you, get up, take up your mat, and go home.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Jesus did a miracle in front of all those people. Probably didn't give the guy the ability to fly like that, but it was still miraculous. And it all began because a group of friends came up with a creative way to help their friends see Jesus. The end.
that was great, Kellen.
It's great to see friends working together to help each other out.
Totally. We all need people in our lives who can be there when we need them. Plus, we need to be people who are there when others need us.
Just like Brandon is there for me.
And John is there for me.
But we're so different.
Yeah, but that's what makes the relationship work, right? You're like the serious one, so it helps keep the show from going off the rails.
Oh, and you probably help us loosen up and have fun in a way that makes us more creative and makes the show more interesting.
And Kellen's the glue that holds it all together.
Did you hear that, Kellen? You're the glue.
Oh, thanks, guys. And it's an honor working together with you to help others see Jesus.
Thanks for the story, Kellen. See you next time.
Bye.
That was fun.
Seriously. Hey, you want to go do a show together?
Yeah, I'd love to.
We'll work on that.
Good luck. Reveal the question. Oh, yeah. How can working with others make you more creative?
Maybe different people have ideas that would never occur to you.
Or they know some games that you've never played.
Or experiments you've never considered.
Or mouth noises you've never tried.
And so it begins. We'll see you next time on the So-and-So Show. Triangle.
House.
Clear,
Up. Pointing north.
Moving up.
So show.
Arrow.
Arrow.
North.
Apple pie.
sun-
Cherry pie.
Peach pie.
Peach pie.
Cherry pie. Strawberry pie.
Tomato pie.
All right.
All right.
Brandon.
Uh,
Foot.
Foot.
All right.
That's foot. I give up.
Toothless.
Snaggletooth.
Toothless.
Toothless.
One tooth.
Toothless alligator.
Yes!
Oh!
Toothless alligator.
Yes!
All right, who gets to draw next?
All right, I get
My
to draw
turn.
next
No.
because I'm so good.
You can accomplish a lot when you're being creative. You can cure diseases. You can design buildings. You can build an international space station out of blocks. Pretty amazing, right? But here's a little secret. You can almost always accomplish more by being creative with others. Other people can help you come up with ideas you've never had before. Other people can help you put your ideas to work faster and better than you can do on your own. And just like in our story of the friends who helped the man who couldn't walk, other people can help solve your problems. And when the problem's too big, other people can lead you to Jesus. No problem's too big for him. When we're creative, we reflect who God is to the people around us. And when we work with others, when we use our unique creative techniques with the unique creative techniques of other people, we can really show the world how uniquely creative God is. That's the one thing to remember today. God created you to work with others. You know, I didn't build this thing all by myself. I called in a bunch of people to help. Some were building block robots, and some were visionaries. And some, like me, brought the fun. And we were just winging it, man. Whee! Just kidding. I'll see you next time.